a follow-up to a movie that has set high standards unanimously for both critics and audience is not only a difficult job but a pretty dangerous one. Most often such an effort ends up in ruining the impact of the predecessor in an attempt to milk out further juice from the original story and its USPs. Jaws 2 to Speed 2, Ditiyo Purush to Fir Hera Feri. We have many examples of such blunders which in a way betrays the love and frenzy for the original film. So when it was announced that Drishyam, one of our most favorite Indian thrillers that we have referred to so many times in our videos in the past, is going for a sequel, to be very honest, even before excitement, the sense of anxiety crept in. Will Jeethu Joseph live up to the expectation of the original? Will George Kutty retain the panorama of shades like before and remain one of the most memorable real characters? Well, the answers are out now. And no, Jeethu and George Kutty didn't betray us. Drishyam 2 actually gives a unique take on the very concept of betrayal instead, in a more philosophical way. Maybe the thrills of the new film have its shortcomings, but the theme of Drishyam gets established all the more in this attempt. And here we are to discuss all that with you in this review of Drishyam 2. And our request to the fans of Drishyam and George Kutty, if you like this analysis, please subscribe to Filmkopath and hit the bell icon to be notified about our other videos as well. Drishyam 2 is a uniquely satisfying film. To start with, Jeethu Joseph ensures that the basics of the sequel are right. Not only our protagonist but the entire cast of the first film is put on board for the sequel. Meena, Ansiba, Anu, Asha Sharath, Siddiqui, all who played the pivotal characters are back, as are the setting of the Rice Hotel, police station or George Kutty's house. Esther Anil, who played the little Anu in Drishyam, is seen to be grown up now and in high school. And there itself the ambience of 6 years having passed for the family gets easily set up. You feel like you are back to the same place, same neighborhood, same family without a need for much screen time for context setting. In fact, that way the initial 30-odd minutes of Drishyam 2 feels stretched, which overemphasizes the context which the cast had already established. However, what it also does is introduce us to new characters who contribute largely to the thematic universe of Drishyam and thus hold its importance. Drishyam 2 improves the driving theme of the first film and extends that thematic universe. Visuals can be deceptive was put as the tagline for the Hindi version of Drishyam, deriving from this central theme of the Malayalam original. And that is exactly what Drishyam 2 thrives on as well. The film starts with a new character, Jose, played by Ajit Kuthatukulam, arrested for the murder of his own brother-in-law. We initially feel that Jose will turn out to be a ferocious foe to George Kutty this time, but later find him to be a pretty sober man who might have committed the crime in the heat of the moment. In fact, much like George Kutty, he too is a person who wants nothing more than to be with his family, and eventually in that attempt, he puts George Kutty in the most difficult situation. This part of the writing is brilliant. It's just not a convenient twist in the story, but a manifestation of the overall theme of the Drishyam series. The risk, trouble, and ethical crisis that a common human being can endure just for the sake of the near and dear ones is signified yet again. When it is about the family, betraying the morals is hardly difficult. Sabu and Sarita, the new neighbors to George Kutty's family, are also characters of visual deception. But here the betrayals are more about the human ego in the name of police proceedings. The entire police department is humiliated by the way George Kutty outwitted them in every step, and now they are ready for any kind of deception to defeat him. It's not as much about justice as about victory over George Kutty, as the police is well aware of what incidents led to this murder involving him. Asha as Geetha Prabhakar, the mother, is aware of her son's criminal doings and yet seeks for the satisfaction of torturing George Kutty's family and particularly the elder daughter Anju. Siddiqui as his husband knows what is right and what is wrong and yet cannot override the brutality of his wife and the police like last time. And George Kutty, who by now has enough experience of the worldly ways, judiciary, legislature and related system loopholes, still runs one step ahead of all others, involving new set of betrayals and deceptions to suit the safety of his family. Drishyam 2 sets betrayal and deception as the perfect crime from which we regularly get away. Trust, values, relations, promises are betrayed over and over by the characters, not only the major ones but the minor supporting ones as well. Say for Anu's new boyfriend at school or the localities at George Kutty's place, who supported the man and his family earlier but now spread gossips at his back, envious of his financial growth. The film at a surface level might relate to twists and thrills of a single plot which feel far-fetched and not entirely convincing. In fact, the way the hurried expositions reach the audience is a case of weak writing that doesn't fit into the rest of the film. The meta-layering of cinema, copyright and stories is brilliant on its own, but needed to be better blended into the script. Drishyam 2 works more at an existential level, where it talks about the everyday human crisis of betraying our morals at different junctures. Such deceptions and facades might not fetch conventional punitive actions, but the pain they bring into thinking minds is immense and equally agonizing. The epileptic fit of Anju, the continuous stress of Rani, and the round-the-clock vigilance of George Kutty. Everything is denoted so intelligently. There's a scene near the end of the film where most of the characters cross with no one able to look at each other in their eyes. Beautiful. Drishyam 2 is such a sublime take on the fallacies of the human existence. Lastly, Drishyam 2 is also a film that marks the return of the actor Mohanlal. Actually, since the 2013 release of Drishyam, we the fans of Mohanlal the actor are starving for something like this where the star is not overshadowing the actor Mohanlal. Drishyam 2 brings back the Mohanlal of measured actions, subtle nuances and subdued dialogue deliveries. Thank you Jeethu Joseph to bring back George Kutty of flesh and blood, avoiding any superhuman histrionics. Let us know what you felt about this review and analysis, and do subscribe to our channel for similar content. That is all from us today. Thank you for watching.